So this is a review for Jumpin Jupiter, and with me today to jump on Jupiter is my good friend Eli Copperman. Say hi.
Oh, sorry, that was just a little harmless coyote.
Which implies that both anthropomorphic and real coyotes exist in the Looney Tunes world, so there you are. It's all consistent, folks. It's all consistent. But a few bits of info to get underway. So as mentioned, this is a review for Jumpin Jupiter, released on the 6th of August 1955. It's the 746th in the series, and it's directed by Chuck Jones. You can find this beautiful restoration on the Looney Tunes Gone Collection Volume 6 DVD set, and a high-definition version is lurking around somewhere, so hopefully that'll make its way on a set at some point.
Only time will tell.
Exactly. You won't find us on YouTube unless Warner Brothers themselves choose to upload it on their own channel, as it is a copyrighted short. But in case you haven't seen this one, it's similar to the other two in this horror trilogy, and we'll touch upon that in a moment. This time round, they're camping out in the wild country. Porky goes to sleep, Sylvester's scared as usual, but then we see this Martian who ends up taking their entire campground up into space. So, yeah, it's a different one. I'll give him that.
Oh, for sure.
So in terms of trivia, so this is the third and final of the so-called Porky and Sylvester horror trilogy. This one's perhaps the most overlooked, and the reason I say that is because the first two are very similar. It's almost like a remake of sorts, really, where it's the same situation. They go into this haunted hotel, and you've got these bloodthirsty mice trying to kill off Porky, but Sylvester tries to save the day, but Porky thinks he's just being an idiot. They use a similar idea here, but the difference now is that Porky still thinks Sylvester's a chicken, an idiot, and so on, but we've got a UFO involved. I guess it's probably just due to the fact that in the 1950s there was a sci-fi craze, and there's also big monster craze and the Western craze as well. Here we've got two of them, Western themed and a sci-fi craze, so there we are.
And not only that, but we were talking about this earlier, Anthony, the idea that out of the three, at least in terms of genre, this is the most unique of the entire trilogy, if only because compared to Scaredy Cat and Claws for Alarm, which were not only more horror-oriented, but focused on Porky and Sylvester in a haunted house with bloodthirsty mice, in this one, they shook up the formula a little bit by having it take place in the wide open desert, and also having the opponent be a UFO and an alien rather than something that we've already seen before. If you're going to bring this duo back again, might as well shake up the formula a little bit.
And I like that they do this. I mean, whether they were effective in this short is another thing entirely, but I do appreciate at least we got something different here. We see this Martian, and well, I don't know if it's even a Martian here, it's just a generic, I guess, UFO bird type design. It is reused in an upcoming Marvin the Martian short, Highway to the Stars. So I guess Jones must have really liked this design from this short and just chose to reuse it.
It's a very fascinating design in its own right. It's funny you mentioned that cartoon specifically, Highway to the Stars. That was actually not only my introduction to those designs because it was on the Bugs Bunny Roadrunner movie, but on a much deeper cut, you can actually see a very brief cameo of these Martians and Looney Tunes back in action.
But it's a great design, and I'm glad Jones ends up reusing it. Some have said these are called Instant Jovians, but honestly, they are named here, so we'll just call them UFO. I mean, they're apparently from Jupiter, hence the title. The title itself, Jumpin Jupiter, is the saying that was used at the time, so there's that. But there is also another reference to loco weed, where Porky, again, he's berating Sylvester, saying, "What, did you eat some loco weed?"
What in blue blazes? Sylvester, have you been eating loco weed? Come on out of there.
And you might think, oh, that might be referring to like cannabis or something along those lines. Well, no. I was looking it up, and apparently there's a whole bunch of plants that were found in the Old West, and some animals would actually specifically go out and look for it and eat it and such. But that ends up making those animals having weird behavior, like crazy behavior, before becoming depressed and lethargic. There's all kinds of things to do with that. But yes, it's a term for a whole bunch of plants which causes weird behavior in animals out in that part of the world. I reckon we take a look at this short from start to finish and just see whether this actually is as good as the other two, which I adore. I love both those other installments of this unofficial trilogy, but we'll see if this one matches up with them. What do you say?
Let's go right ahead.
We see that Porky Pig and Sylvester are camping in the desert, but that howling coyote, I love that one shot. In fact, I love the layouts of this short, full stop. It's a great one. So you see the coyote and even that nice layout of the campsite itself. It sets the mood up really nicely. I love it.
will be wonderful, Sylvester. Camping way out here in the middle of nowhere. So peaceful and quiet.
Oh, it's really gorgeous. The layouts and backgrounds are credited to Robert Givens and Philip DeGuard. It's interesting because we were talking about in the Rabid Rampage commentary how at this time Chuck was trying to reassemble his old crew, and it took him a while to get Maurice Noble back. So seeing Bob Givens in the layout stage is actually kind of a very nice treat, but I think he works well within this form of dynamic, wide open space styled short that Chuck was going for. And Philip DeGuard in general just like makes them come to life with his gorgeous colors. Anytime you see something laid out by Bob Givens, more often than not, it's going to work out pretty well in the long run.
You got this wonderful animation of Sylvester being all jumpy, grabbing onto Porky, and then grabbing onto Porky again when he goes into the tent. So it sets everything up. Even if you haven't seen the other two installments, you know right away what this is all about, what the whole setup is. They got Porky being the straight man pig, no nonsense, and you got Sylvester being very skittish, very scared of his surroundings.
Hey, now, I don't want any more guff out of you. Hey, you go to sleep, you silly jerky cat, you.
The whole idea is that Porky's going to sleep in the tent, Sylvester will sleep out next to the fire, which is probably a bad thing because if there's a coyote around, the coyote may end up actually trying to hunt and eat Sylvester, so it's kind of gruesome to think about.
So Porky, you're saying that coyote's harmless? You're a bad cat owner. Like, that's on you, man.
But we see that after that little setup, we see this flying saucer, and I like the fact that this flying saucer even quote-unquote acts as well, like it's got its own personality, so it approaches, but you see it kind of thinking as well. Did you notice that?
On first watch, I don't think I did, but now that you mentioned it, it does add a bit more personality into the animation. In some cartoons with like weird handy gadgets, at least one's directed by Chuck Jones, he and his animators would add these nice little touches where the gadgets themselves kind of have a personality of their own, like they'll have their own bits of thought. So it is funny you mentioned that. I didn't even think of that before.
It's very subtle, but it's definitely something that you'll notice, especially if you're looking for it. Why is this UFO here? Obviously it's a nod to the UFO craze, as we already mentioned, and we see that there is orders from the leader, which is the head microcosm, J. Pluvius, and this is where you guys come in, because the only thing I can see about it is that it's a shorthand thing for Jupiter Pluvius. It's like Jupiter's like a rainmaker of sorts. I'm no expert on that front when it comes to the gods and that, so if you know more about that reference, let me know in the comments, because I definitely want to hear from you. But regardless of your answer, it's not going to answer the question as to why the instructions would be in English, but that's overthinking it, of course.
And that's a nice little detail, but I'm afraid I don't really get the reference myself.
And I like the whole touch where it bores the ship underneath and basically takes the whole campsite. But before all that happens, though, at least we see this bird, the animation of that bird walking. Again, it's a subtle thing, but I just like how unusual it is in this very subtle way.
It's done with a lot of delicacy, you can tell. And on top of that, you can see how much personality is in just one walk cycle. I think there's an old saying amongst animation that the best way to identify a character's personality is within their walk cycle. So you can just tell what kind of creature they are just from their walk alone. They're not just a weird creature from outer space. They're like, just a weird alien to begin with that doesn't walk the way we do.
And that's what I like about that. But we see that he sees what he needs to see, I guess, and takes the campsite away. But I like how we hear Powerhouse. And I don't know if they use Powerhouse too much more shorts after this. I don't recall another example of Powerhouse being used in the Golden Age of Looney Tunes. It's actually a really good touch here. I just like the fact that they use Powerhouse here, but Milt Franklin's using it this time around as opposed to Carl Starling. We see that they now go up into space, and shout out to the effects animator, Harry Love. He does an excellent job here. I love the effects of space here, where the stars is just, okay, it's a little bit more than what usually you'd see in space like that, but still, it's a nice little effect. Being an effects animator could be really thankless, I would think.
Oh, absolutely.
But I just love how oblivious Porky is here, where, he gets up, he's half asleep, he's walking and goes,
Better get that extra blanket. Golly, the stars are so bright tonight, you can almost touch them.
so oblivious to it. And of course, we're not going to consider the fact that, there's no air in space, and why we're hearing wind in the background, even though there's no wind in space, but we just go with it. We're not going to overthink it too much, right?
Nah, not too much.
Not too much indeed. We got the UFO bird approaching Sylvester, and the close-up of that alien, and then Sylvester's face, that kills me every single time I see it. How great is that?
Just that one shot alone. In fairness, I would react the same as Sylvester. I would meow, but I'd also be terribly frightened. Like, if I saw that in the nighttime while I was sleeping, I think I'd have a heart attack. Not even kidding.
Meow.
Porky's delivery, get off of me or I will kill you. And Porky's really brutal in this one, isn't he?
Just how chill he was there. Like, rather than freaking out, like, it actually makes him sound more mad.
Exactly. But I like this whole pantomime bit, which is kind of a repeated idea from the other two installments, where Sylvester tries to explain to Porky what's going on without actually talking.
Yes, there, Sylvester. Get off of me, or I shall kill you. Now, you idiotic stoop of a silly cat. What's the matter with you, anyway?
But in fairness, what exactly is that supposed to represent? Like, for someone who's not seen this alien before, what's all that supposed to mean? I thought that was hilarious.
I'm not entirely sure.
Porky's probably just thinking, yeah, he's being an idiot again, and we all know how that's going to go. But I do like the pantomime there of him trying to explain that alien. That's fantastic.
Just a little bit of him patting his head kills me.
I like the fact that Sylvester goes back into the tent and the alien actually walks in. A rational person would look at him and get freaked out, but no, Porky, I'm guessing, is so half asleep he thinks it's a Native American or something, like it's a friendly Navajo.
I have to say, Porky, have you ever met an indigenous American? Like, dude, come on.
It is what it is, and even the alien's all confused, just so befuddled by all of this.
Oh, this is what's troubling you, eh? If a shame. Well, I'm sorry, but you'll just have to return to your your wigwam. And we'll look at your rugs and trinkets in the morning.
In fact, he's so befuddled that for the rest of the short, he's just inside the ship and consults a book, which is Denizens of Planet Earth and Their Behavior. And if you look closely at the actual author, it's Dr. Sigmund Freud, UD, and that's a reference to Sigmund Freud, the founder of psychoanalysis. But I like the fact that the rest of the short, Porky's confused this alien to the point where he just sits there, just constantly read this book, in English, of course, because it has to be. He's like, what on earth is going on? I don't understand this. But I like the whole thing with the Earth's gravity, how it now switches off, and this is a testament to the animated skills here, just the fact that they were able to convincingly show off things once gravity is switched off. So the clothing, the actual blanket, the water, it's really well done here, I have to say.
It is a nice touch, too. Although I will say, I don't know what the time passage was, but I have to say, I don't know how Porky is just so tired that he doesn't even realize, like, wait, the water's falling down. Like, what?
Porky must be really tired to not realize that, yeah, something's a little off here.
He is gone. He is depleted, my friend.
As everything starts settling down onto this planet eventually, we even see Sylvester praying, and that's the only sound he makes in the entire short. So that implies that he can talk. Why not just tell Porky? But anyway, he's just cast as a house cat in this one, so, it is what it is. And then they end up landing on an alien planet, and it's great design. And again, this is Ernest Nordley, and it's interesting. It's not noble, but it looks nice. I like the design of this alien planet. What did you think?
It's a very cool design, but I will say, I think this is easily the worst part about the cartoon. I feel like there should have been a bit more of a punch. I'm not saying they had to freak out and run away from the planet, but I feel like maybe he could have thought to himself, am I still dreaming, Sylvester? or something like that. But as is, it's an okay ending, but yeah, I don't know. I feel like it could have been a lot punchier. I will say though, I do love those giant Martian designs. They are so weird looking, and I don't know why they did those weird eyebrow tricks, but it's really funny.
I just like the designs again, like they're just giants now, those aliens that we see, and with the twist that Porky, he just does not realize that they're on an alien planet and they're going to make the trip to Albuquerque in no time. And we end right there, and that's the final of the trilogy.
I totally get why people don't talk about this one compared to, Claws for Alarm or Scaredy Cat, but I think it's a decent enough outing on its own. It's definitely the least suspenseful or surprising out of them, but for what it is, it's definitely pleasing to look at, and I feel like there's definitely bits of enjoyment you can find here and there. So for what it is, I think it's a pretty solid cartoon, and I'm going to give it a very generous 7 out of 10. It's not perfect, but not everything needs to be, and for what it is, I had fun.
Yeah, I think, look, out of the trilogy, admittedly, this one I feel is the weaker of the three, but I do commend the fact that they tried something new. There's still some funny gags in here. It just feels like the story is a little bit off in this one. I think there should have been maybe a better punchline involving the original alien that we see all throughout, but it is what it is, and I could think of worse cartoons to watch, but yeah, this one I'll score the same as you. But that's everything on this one, I'd say. So thank you so much for watching, guys, and until next time, take care.
Jumpin Jupiter.
I don't think I've ever seen that one before. Well, we ought to make Albuquerque easy by tonight.